You know what's actually a dangerous place to be in? Being in good enough shape that everyone around you thinks that you're doing well, while deep down you still know that you feel like shit. Because I've been there. I've been the so-called in shape one, looking better than most of my mates, looking better than most of the people around me, probably around 12, 13% body fat, and I still felt like a fucking loser. I still felt soft, I still felt depressed. Not because I looked horrendous, but because I knew what that sharper version of me actually felt like, with the lean face, shredded, more energy, better standard of women, better people around you, walking into the room actually feeling like the fucking guy. Confidence at 100. That bicep vein pressing against the skin. And you know, once you actually feel like that, once you've experienced that version of yourself, that higher version of yourself, looking all right, looking a bit better than average, that starts to feel fucking unbearable. Okay, so I don't think getting lean should be something that you do for a few weeks, for a few months of the year, and then lose it all. I think 10% body fat should be the standard year round for every man. And from there, you just keep growing. You keep building more muscle. You keep improving the habits. You keep increasing your standards. And you just raise every area that you operate at. And you're just in a constant pursuit of growth, of the highest version of yourself. Because the goal isn't to just get in shape. It's to become the man who's actually just keeps moving forward, and more importantly, actually has the standards, actually has the system to actually stay there. Because this is where most lads mess up. They get comfy. They think, yeah, I look better than my mates. Like, compared to them, I look like Cristiano Ronaldo. But being ahead of a bunch of people who have now completely given up on themselves and now have zero standards and eat fucking Big Macs on the weekend, that doesn't mean that you're anywhere near your potential. You know, the world's fucking standards today is so low that you can operate at 60% and you can still get praise for it. Because I was the so-called fit one, the so-called ambitious one, the so-called one who apparently had his shit together. And I still wanted more, because comfort, that is a silent fucking little bastard. Yeah, it doesn't ruin your life overnight, but sometimes it can keep you in exactly the same place for years, which is a dangerous place to be. And I think the turning point for me was when I came back from Ibiza. Okay, I got in relatively good shape again just before I went away, as you do, okay, when you suddenly have a holiday booked. And now we're locking in on the diet. Now we're up in the cardio again. Now the training's going to get a little bit on point. And everything suddenly becomes now serious, because now there's a date involved. Yeah, like, you know, your top's going to be off in a few months around the pool. So what do? You just go a bit psycho with it. And when I went away, I had a great time. Okay, I had a great few days away, and then I came back and I felt like a fucking bloated water balloon. I felt like fucking shit. Yeah, not because I was fat, but because most people would have still said you're in relatively good shape. But I knew the difference. I knew that I lost the sharpness. Even just the cognitive performance, the standards had slipped, the routine had slipped. And that's when it clicked. Okay, for me, I knew how to get in shape for an occasion. I knew how to force my body down for a couple of weeks, but I didn't have a proper system to just making that the norm, making that the normal version of me. And this is what most lads are doing. They're just getting in shape when something happens, whether that be Ibiza, whether that be a festival, whether that be getting in shape because her girlfriend fucking dumped them, whatever. And now you're just creating a temporary character who trains, who tracks his food, who says no to shit for a little bit and pretends they're disciplined because there's a deadline there. And then when the deadline hits, that character disappears. Okay, this isn't a transformation. This is a phase. Yeah, you might take a few photos and then you just end up back at that old version of you. And after that holiday, my confidence went into the fucking ground, in all honesty. And I knew I don't want that shit anymore. I knew I just got fucking so fed up of my own bullshit. Yeah, I got fed up of looking good for 10 days of the year. I wanted that to become the year-round standard. I wanted the energy. I wanted the frequency. I wanted the confidence. I wanted the mindset. I wanted to be operating like a fucking machine. And that was when I invested in a coach. Are you all right? Because I knew I needed a proper system. I didn't want all this random information. I didn't want another fucking diet that I just kept forcing myself through for fucking 8 weeks. Yeah, I needed someone who actually understood me, who actually would show me phase by phase where I currently was and what I actually needed to focus on. And actually just make the results inevitable, make it part of my lifestyle. I wanted to raise my standards in that area properly. I wanted the structure, I wanted the accountability. Just to stop fucking guessing, which is what I'd done for many years. Okay, I wanted to actually build the version of myself that I already knew was there. That was the turning point, not because the coach did the work for me. All right, I still had to put the work in, guys. But I finally had a proper system to actually put my effort into. And this is exactly where most people are messing up. Where they're messing up, guys. You cannot rush a physique. Yeah, I get so many people message me on Insta. And, you know, even my own clients inside my elite program. How long is it going to take to get in shape to see the results? Number one, that is a horrendous fucking question. Because what does getting in shape actually mean? Getting to see the first glimpse of your abs, losing a little bit of belly fat, you know, dropping a couple of kilos, looking like you finally train. It's all vague. It's all fucking vague, all right? You need a clear destination. You need to know where you're at right now and where you actually want to get to. You need a vision. And number two, guys, the moment you put some ridiculous deadline on something, you start making stupid decisions. The holiday's 8 weeks away. So now the food gets slashed to 1,500, to 1,600, to 1,800. Cardio starts going through the roof. You start operating like one of these hybrid athletes. You start trying to lose 3 years worth of body fat before your Ryanair flight. And I know exactly where that approach gets you. Okay, because I've done it myself. I went full fucking psycho mode, aggressive mode. And I rushed the diet. And all that happened, I developed a binge eating disorder, okay? I remember coming back from work one day and I was eating about 1,500 calories or 1,600 calories at the time. I was having watermelon and spinach for dinner like a spastic. And I came home from work and the emotions got the better of me. All right, full box of Weetabix, gone. A full kilo of porridge, gone. The crumpets, the chocolates, just a full fucking raid. A full fucking raid. I ate until I was physically sick, and you can imagine how I felt afterwards. I felt fucking horrendous because that's what happens when you spend weeks just trying to change your body faster than it already, faster than it actually wants to change. It eventually bites back, okay? So you cannot rush these phases. Like, there's no rush, there's no emergency, there's no prize to getting lean 4 weeks earlier. Like, if you spend the next 6 months just completely losing control over food, that's a shit feeling as well. Yeah, you take it day by day, you show up day by day, you slowly start building the habits, you start building the structure, the actual system that makes the results inevitable. And life isn't going to suddenly always be perfectly quiet all the time for you. That's the reality, work's going to get busy. You go away, you might have a family member pass, you might have meals out, shit will happen. Yeah, this is exactly why you need an approach that still works for you, even when life isn't working for you, when the world isn't working for you. Because anyone can stay on plan when they have a perfectly empty diary and nothing's going wrong. But the physique forces you through the misery, guys. Okay? It's normal to, fucking fall out of line, guys. But this is completely why inside my elite program, I take my clients through the 4-phase physique roadmap. Because you might have worked with other coaches before and they just slash the calories off the bat and they take you into some fat loss phase. And I have before. I don't like this approach. Okay, I like to take my clients through what I like to call priming phase, yeah, where we actually prime the body, we actually just get the training, we actually get the nutrition, we actually get the sleep and the steps and just the routine in place, get it all in the green before we start pushing fat loss. Because if you just rush it, guys, it's not going to be a sustainable approach. And then, once we actually get everything in the green, then we move into the shred phase. This is where we actually start stripping the body fat. And then obviously afterwards, there's a reverse phase. And then there's a performance phase where we're obviously looking at putting on a bit more tissue improving our performance and operating from obviously a leaner baseline, 8 to 10% body fat. Okay, you shouldn't be bulking if you're not at least 8 to 10% body fat right now. But I'm not going to go into the whole fucking breakdown of the roadmap. Like I say, I've already done a video on it. I will leave a link below so you can go and watch that after this. But the main point is that is the entry phase. Okay, every phase has a purpose. You don't need to slash food and hope for the best. You have a clear system. You have a clear roadmap that actually shows you where you're at right now and where you actually want to get to and what actually needs to happen phase by phase. Yeah, that is the difference. Okay. And this is the part that people completely miss. They think staying in shape means knowing your calories, knowing your macros, your training plan. It isn't, okay? Your physique is held together by the standards that you live by every single day. Because what happens when you got no structure? You start living on fucking autopilot. You start living like a fucking bot. You start living like an NPC. You wake up whenever, you scroll whenever, you train whenever you can actually be asked for once. And now you're just basing everything on motivation. And now you're just constantly reacting to the day instead of actually letting it run for you. And then you wonder why your body, why your energy, it keeps going down. And now you're just stuck in all this fucking yo-yo effect. Yeah, this is why you need immaculate standards in place. Your body is handled, your food is handled, your training is handled, your environment is handled. It's all working for you. You're not walking around needing someone to supervise you. And no, this doesn't mean eating fucking dried chicken and rice and carrying Tupperware to all these social events. I have been that guy. Yeah, don't be that guy. But it means having enough structure that one meal out doesn't slowly turn into zero respect for yourself. Because getting down to 10% body fat isn't about looking good and being good for 12 weeks. It's about building the standard of the man who can actually operate at that level year round. And this is exactly why I have my CC10 daily habits. Okay, these are 10 daily standards that keep me switched on, that keep me lean, that keep me looking sharp, that keep me operating at the highest level. Because I'm not waking up every single morning hoping to feel motivated. Like, no one does that. No one should do that. I'm up early no matter what. Yeah, I get the early wake-ups in, non-negotiable, hydration, electrolytes, straight in. You know, I've been up since 3 a.m. today. I'm fucking beaming with energy. I feel like I've done a fucking line of cocaine. Yeah, I hit my grams. I hit my macros to the gram before I hit my pillow. Okay, the nutrition is dialed in. I just train like a fucking machine. I've done my razor frequency workouts. If I get energy dip throughout the day, I don't just sit there, accepting feeling like a fucking bag of shit. I move my body. I use my body. I get the press ups in. I get the burpees in. I maybe start swinging a couple dumbbells about. You know, I always keep the dumbbells close by. Just get some blood flowing. Raise my state back up. Like, look at it like this, guys. Your body is a bit of a battery. And right now, most people, 99% of people, they're walking around on low power mode. Yeah, we want to be operating at 100. Maybe you get a 80% dip throughout the day. Or sorry, you get a dip to 80%. That is fine. What do, guys? We get to the floor. We get the press ups in. We switch ourselves back on. That is the level. And look, I'm not saying that you need to wake up at 3 a.m. every day. Yeah, that's not the point. That's not the point of this video. You know, you shouldn't be waking up past 6 a.m. But the point is, you shouldn't be allowing for emotions to control your life. All right? Like, you should be in control of your entire day. I'm not letting one bad morning decide the standard of my day. I have the habits in place that literally pull me back into alignment, into the highest version of myself that I'm trying to become. All right, that is why the CC10 daily habits matter. Like I said, there's a link below to all 10. You can get them. But there isn't some fucking cute little checklist where you tick off, oh, I've drank water today and give yourself a little gold star. These are 10 daily standards that keep your energy high, that keep your physique actually progressing, that actually just keep your head switched on, keep your mindset primed, and you're just constantly moving forward. Because when you wake up early, when you hit the nutrition plan, when you hit your macros, when your body's always moving and everything's just handled, you're now entering a completely different version of yourself. And it's like you're playing Xbox. Yeah, I'm like playing Xbox, guys. That's how I feel right now. I feel like I'm upgrading the character of my life. My physique is up. My energy is up. My confidence is up. I'm just upgrading that character. And you feel completely different. You walk different. You speak different. You carry yourself different. Yeah, that confidence you're looking for, that doesn't come by sitting in your bedroom and convincing yourself that you're the fucking guy. It comes from literally operating like him today, all day, every day. Okay? And this is where most lads go wrong. They want the energy. They want the aura. But their day is built like absolute shit. They wake up late. They scan the back of Tesco meal deals and eat all this processed shit. And then one bad day at work and then boom, training's cancelled. Okay, and now you're breaking the promises to yourself. Now you're breaking the standards that you set for yourself. Okay, and once this keeps happening, then of course you start to lose that trust in yourself. Of course your confidence starts to go down. Of course you start feeling like absolute shit. So get the habit started. Okay, like I said, there's a link below to all 10. Yeah, put the structure in place for your morning. Set the routine out. Set the training out, the training times, the nutrition. Okay, always be operating at the standard required to build that lean, aesthetic, well-proportioned physique. We don't need to look like a bodybuilder, but we just want to look well-built. We want to look sick, guys, with our top off. Yeah, that, and just hold that as a year-round standard. Because 10% body fat without the habits, now that's another temporary phase. Like, you can get in shape and you can still have zero standards. And to me, that is a fucking dangerous place to be. But if you actually start implementing good standards in place, now it's not about just looking better. All right, this is where your body is now moving forward. Your energy is now high, and now your day finally has some structure in place. Now your entire relationship with the world starts. It starts changing. Okay, you start walking into the room and stop giving a shit whether people like you. You stop chasing all these half-decent 5 out of 10 women and just looking like some desperate little beg. You stop clinging on to all these relationships and environments that are clearly you've outgrown now because you're too frightened of having nobody around you. Like, you stop caring. All right, you become a lot more selective with your time, and that is not arrogance. Yeah, selective. Okay, because now you're actually proud of how you look. Your energy is actually high. You're actually progressing, and you've actually got a clear mission in life. And you stop relying on the outside world to actually make you feel valuable. Yeah, you bring that value into the room with you, and people can feel that. All right, women can feel that. They can feel the energy. They can feel when someone's absolutely desperate to be chosen. Other men can feel when someone has no conviction behind them, when someone clearly doesn't respect themselves. But they can also see when someone actually does take care of themselves, when someone actually has standards, when he doesn't need to be dragged through life. Okay, and this is where respect comes in. Not just because you've got abs now, but the body is evidence. It's evidence that you can actually lead yourself. Yeah, you stop accepting less for yourself and less from everyone else. And that's why I keep saying fitness to me is a lifestyle. It is the tool to life. It's not your whole life, okay? But it changes the position that you operate at, okay? It's that simple, guys. You're no longer hiding. You're no longer waiting for permission. You got momentum. And we need that. We need that as men. We need the growth. We need to actually feel like we're moving somewhere. We need to look like we actually have our shit together. Because if you feel like shit right now, there is a good chance it's not only because you're out of shape, it's because nothing is moving forward in your life. You're stuck in the same body. You're stuck around the same people. You're stuck at the same level. You're consuming more than you're actually creating. You're existing more than you're actually living. And you're not building anything that actually excites you. So of course you're going to feel like shit. Of course you're going to feel flat. Because you've got no evidence that your life is going anywhere. Yeah, that is why 10% body fat is the standard. Not because it's there to flex and, you know, you can stare at yourself in the mirror and look like a fucking knob. It is there, and from there you keep growing. Yeah, we want more muscle. We want better performance. We want higher standards. We want a bigger mission in life and just a constant pursuit of the highest version of yourself. So lads, stop settling for average, for all right. But be fed up of your own bullshit that you keep telling yourself and build the physique. Get your habits dialed in. Get around better people. Raise your frequency. Raise your standards. And just let the rest of life come up with it. Okay? 10% body fat, immaculate standards, and a constant pursuit of growth. That is the level. Let's go, guys.